line's all frayed where it's going through the reeds. So obviously I'm a little bit nervous right now. Oh, I've got it in the net. What a relief.
Throughout the last freezing cold 4 months of my carp fishing exploits, I've learnt that you can never predict the outcome to any fishing quest. However confident you are in what you're doing, however much you think you know, carp are wild animals and they don't always read the rule book. Winter always has its challenges, but usually the rewards make the effort worthwhile. This winter tested me to the limit and taught me that sometimes you've just got to wait. I started fishing the lower lake at Coombe 3 or 4 years ago and have enjoyed good success over a couple of sessions a year here in that time. Due to the impressive stock and proximity to my home on the Isle of Wight, I decided a winter campaign here was in order to try and finally tempt the 50-pound common that lives in here. Having caught several big fish last winter, I hoped I could slip into a routine of baiting and fishing every week and get the results I was hoping for. But with both weather and time against me, this would be my hardest campaign to date. However, when you have to work for something, the reward is always bigger.
Oh, hi Will, it's Simon. How you doing, mate? All right? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, not bad, thanks. I was wondering if I could maybe fish this week, like probably Wednesday night, something like that. Oh, there's no one on. Awesome, that'd be good. Could I possibly come down today and maybe sort of mark some spots up and put a bit of bait in and that sort of stuff? Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm there. Okay, mate. Brilliant. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks, Will. All right, bye.
So with plans made for my first session, I set off for my first baiting and spot finding mission. Usually the carp in the lower lake are easy to find, as they spend a lot of time in the far margin reeds. However, I was well aware that as the temperature dropped going into the winter, they would start seeking out other areas of the lake for warmth and food. I decided to investigate the lake fully to find areas I thought they'd gravitate towards, and then keep the bait going in to hold them there. I hoped that this little bit of extra effort at this point would pay dividends later on in the campaign, as getting spots established in autumn can keep the carp visiting and feeding, making them easier to catch. Or so I thought. So the first session arrived the following day after baiting up. I hoped the bait had done its job by now and I could get this session off to a good start. I decided to keep things simple at this stage, using rigs that I'm confident in and ones that have worked here before for me. I checked that everything was perfect before getting the rods out quietly and accurately using the boat.
Right, this is it. I'm excited. The start of my winter campaign. I've decided to fish Cumley Lakes because it's close to home and there's a very, very big common in here, somewhere around the £50 mark. And also there's 4 or 5 other 40s as well, including another £40 common. So I'd love to catch one of those this winter. It would be a PB for me. And the plan is to fish every week and bait up in between to get the fish feeding on my spots and hopefully give me a better chance of catching. So I came yesterday on bonfire night, the 5th of November, to bait up, gave them 4 or 5 kilos of ISO fish and some pellet as well. And I'm down today, the 6th of November, for my first session. I've got my 3 rods out down there, as you can see, and it's going to be really interesting to see what comes along. Early into the session, I'm not expecting loads of action, but I'm hoping as the fish get on that bait that I'm going to be giving them, I'm going to be catching more and more fish, and hopefully the ultimate prize, the £50 common, is going to come along and it's going to make my winter for me.
A mild day soon turned into a cold night, and although I was confident in what I was doing, I couldn't help feeling like the lake felt really quiet, especially when I woke the following morning to lifeless bobbins and no carp. However, I always knew I would have to work at it for this campaign, and while packing down, I already had plans for another bait up and a quick night the following week. I arrived for my second session in warm sunshine and already doubted my baiting up spot choices from last week. More about this later. Having seen the fish show in several margin areas, I decided to spread my rods and focus on trying to get a bite rather than build a hit of fish from my baited areas. It's definitely always better to fish where the fish tell you than where you think they should be.
Right then, second session, and this time I've decided to go in the middle of the lake. Last week I was up that way and I fished all 3 rods in the deeper water at the far end, and I think that was a bit of a mistake. The fish are still quite spread out and we've got high pressure and sunshine in the daytime, so they've been getting in the shallows, and I did see a couple show last week and I'm embarrassed to admit I didn't act on it. I didn't fish for them and I caught nothing. So this week got high pressure again. I've got 1 rod in the shallow water up there, I've got 1 rod kind of in the middle and then 1 in the deeper water, but still in the margins, so it's still a bit shallower than it would be in the open water there. So I'm hedging my bets on this session. I've gone in the middle of the lake and I've spread my rods out a bit more. Rather than fishing all of them down one end, I'm kind of covering the whole lake here. I think it's a bit of an advantage whilst the fish are still spread out, to give myself a few more chances of a bite rather than just having all my eggs in one basket. So I'm happy with everything. I've kind of gone with my go-to tactics on here, which is just fishing for a bite. Last week I went in heavy with the bait thinking that, you know, no one's been fishing here, the fish will be hungry, but it just didn't pay off, it didn't work. So I've gone in with just a little bit of bait on each rod, and then I'll probably bait up when I leave so that they can be feeding whilst I'm not here. But then while I'm fishing, I'll just be fishing for a bite at a time. I think that's the best tactic, so hopefully catch me some fish. So I'm feeling confident on this session. I've really had to think about it while I've been away from the lake. I didn't like blanking last week, so let's see if we can make it happen this time.
High pressure and clear skies led to another cold night, and whilst it wasn't quite frosty yet, it was certainly winter coat weather. Nothing came to the rods that session, and my head was spinning with different things to try next time to get a bite. It was at this point in the campaign when I had started to question everything. What spots should I be fishing? Would the fish even feed this winter, as we'd had such unseasonably cold conditions early on in the season? What bait to use to tempt them? How many times would I have to drive down the bumpy track, and would my suspension survive? The next couple of sessions were spent trying different bait combinations and spots, hoping for a liner or some sort of sign I was doing something right. One thing was for sure, with every session it was looking more and more like winter, and I'd yet to get the campaign off the ground.
One of the challenges that I'm facing at the moment on this lake is it's completely featureless out there in that open water where I'm mostly seeing the fish show, so there's nothing to really aim for in terms of bottom features really, just the bottom of the marginal shelf, and then it's quite sort of bowly out this area, quite, flat really. So what I think I'm going to have to do is just decide on a spot somewhere that no one else is going to fish when they come here. It's my spot, I'm going to keep baiting it, and I'm just going to have to keep that food going in for the carp and just make the bait the feature. So hopefully they're going to keep visiting that area and clearing the bottom, and eventually it should start getting firmer, and hopefully the fish will get used to it and I can start catching them, because at the moment, I'm dotting around spots trying to sort of nick a bite, and it's just not working. I feel like I need to establish a spot, get them feeding on it and get them confident, so that when I turn up, I've just got to simply get the rods out onto that spot and, stick to it. Because at the moment, I'm fishing the spots that I'd normally fish in the warmer weather up to the reeds and stuff, and it's just not working. The fish are obviously not getting into that sort of shallower water. Even though we've had a bit of sun on it the last few days, I thought they might be sort of looking for that warmer, shallower water. I think they are in that deep water, and it's 15 foot out there, and I've been seeing shows on the top, so ideally I'd like to be fishing zigs, but you're not allowed to on here, and that's not the way to build up a campaign, is it? I need to get the bait in, get them confident, get them feeding, and then hopefully I'll start catching them. So I think the next couple of weeks is going to be all about just baiting, and hopefully something's going to happen once the weather settles down a bit. We've got a bit of rain now, bit horrible, going to have to pack up in the wet, but it's going to be worth it if I can find a spot today and get some bait on it, visit again this week and bait up probably Thursday, and then maybe next week come down for a session, and then when I leave after that session I'll bait again, and it's a good hit of bait then on that zone, start establishing it, and hopefully things will start happening from there.
So I'd established a plan which involved considerable time, which unfortunately was something I found myself lacking over the next few weeks. With Trakker offering me a role as a media consultant, I suddenly found myself busier than I'd ever been. With show season upon us and lots of trips away filming, it was a full 5 weeks until I set foot on the lake again. In that time, autumn quickly turned into winter, and with no bait going in and cold conditions, the fish had fully gone into shutdown mode. My next couple of trips, I felt even further away from unlocking the code. I didn't see any shows, I had no liners, and I was limited to overnighters, making things even harder. All I needed was a window of opportunity, some warmer weather to wake the fish up, and some time for baiting and more rod hours. I even roped my daughter in to help whilst on our way to her horse riding lesson. Maybe the next trip would be different.
Right, we're heading down the lake again. I think this will be my 7th session or something like that. We've had a really cold winter. I just haven't been able to get there when the conditions have been right. I actually went to my club lake last week just to get a bend in the rod, and I managed a 21 pounder just to get me off the mark for 2025. but we are heading back down Coomley. We've got 2 nights ahead of us. The sun is setting, it's 4:30 and I'm stuck in traffic, so not ideal. I need to get there before it gets dark really, so I can get the rods out and see where they're going properly. But yeah, I'm stuck in traffic. It's rush hour, you know, it's 4:30 and it's looking like it's going to be dark by the time I get there, but I'm going to get the rods out. The weather is changing. We've got 10 degrees now and it's due to stay that temperature all night, and then tomorrow is going to be 10, 11, 12 degrees all day and a 30-40 mile an hour wind, southwesterly. So really this is my best opportunity that I've had all winter to try and catch one from Coomley, and I'm just really hoping that the carp gods are on my side. I've just got here and yeah, there's a little bit of light left, so I've just slung the bivvy up quick and chucked everything inside. You know, got the rods out the bags, put the buzz bars in, and basically I've just got to mix some bait up now, get the rods out and finish tidying up, and then that's all done. So yeah, we made it just in time, even though there was that traffic and I felt like I hit every red light along the way. We've made it. So yeah, gonna get the rods out now. Once I've mixed some bait up, I'll probably walk round, chuck a little bit on each spot, and then get the rods out. Hopefully I'll be able to get all of that done before it gets dark. So yeah, it's been a bit of a rush job, but we're here. Tomorrow morning's going to be windy and a little bit wet, and it's looking like best conditions yet on this little campaign. So let's see what the night brings.
Would the effort finally pay off? I was finding it hard to imagine catching at all on this campaign, but you've always got to keep the faith and keep trying. That night I fell asleep dreaming of big carp and wondering if they'd found my bait from the last baiting mission. The morning started calm but quickly turned into strong winds and rain. But still, nothing. Time was running out as spring was fast approaching, and with it the lake bookings were rapidly filling up. I needed to find time for one more session if I was to salvage this campaign. My thoughts of the big common had all but left my mind, and now it was just a case of catching anything, however big or small, just so it hadn't all been a waste of time. I received a text message from Will, the lake owner, letting me know the lake was free, but unfortunately I couldn't make it due to family commitments that week. After chatting with my understanding wife, she agreed I could do one last session. Little did I know this session would more than make up for the blanks, and show me you can never predict what's going to happen in any conditions, and the carp can always surprise you when you least expect it.
Oh, I can't actually believe it. I'm sat here, the foggiest morning that I've seen for a long, long time, thinking there's no hope of a bite, and lo and behold, the right hand rod is gone, and down there in the sling is a rather large mirror. After all those blank sessions that I've done, I think this is session number 9 now, something like that. Finally it's come good in the worst possible conditions that I can imagine. And yeah, I'm blown away. Managed to wipe out my middle rod as well, so I'm going to have to redo my rods, but at the moment I can barely see the far side of the lake where I'm fishing to, so I'm going to have to wait a little bit for the fog to clear and get the cameras out, show you the fish and get those rods back out fishing, because hopefully there's time for another couple of fish. Absolutely blown away, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting one in that fog. But you just never know. You've got to be in it to win it. There it is. That's 40 pounds, 6 ounces. Coombe Lower Lake. In the fog. Been hard work this winter, but it's finally come good. Look at that. Right, let's let it get back. Go tell your mates, I want to see them. Off we go. Woohoo, come on.
Once the fog had burnt off, it turned into a warm day that almost felt like spring. Although I'd only planned one night for this session, I just had to see if there was one last chance of something memorable to reward me for sticking it out through the winter. So I made plans to do the extra night after clearing it with Will, the owner, although he did inform me that they had to dye the lake that day because it was their only chance before the lake got busy. I wondered how this would affect the fishing. Only time would tell.
I'm hoping that I'm going to maybe manage another one tonight if I'm lucky, because I know the lake's getting busy now. It's getting booked up, it's nearly spring, so I might not be able to get down here again, so I really hope that something's going to happen and we're going to have a couple more fish, but we'll have to wait and see. Get the rods out now and then sit back and see what the night brings.
When I look back on this campaign, I probably got a few things wrong. Not baiting or fishing regularly enough due to the busy show season and filming commitments, moving spots about too much and changing tactics, and doubting myself when really it all came down to poor conditions. The carp simply weren't feeding heavily or regularly enough for me to catch them on any sort of consistent basis. The warmer weather that had finally come in, despite the fog, had finally woken the carp up, and I was in for one more surprise. Catching one of the new stockies at £28 that evening gave me hope that the carp was still feeding, but would tonight deliver the ultimate prize.
Guys, we had one stuck in the reeds. I managed to come around the far side and get it out, and it's a proper big one. A linear, might be £40. I can't believe it. I really hope I managed to land it. The line's all frayed where it's going through the reeds, so obviously I'm a little bit nervous right now. Oh, I've got it in the net. What a relief. Look at this weather. Crazy morning. Blown away. That is an absolute chuck. Right, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. 41.5 linear from Coombe. What a relief, eh? It's been a really tough cold winter, and now the sun's out and the fish are waking up and they're getting on the munch, so yeah, 3 fish to make up for all those blanks, and I'm over the moon. And what a stunning fish as well. Absolutely beautiful, perfect linear scales on it. You can't ask for more than that. Off you go. Yes, come on.